Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Doan, I just want to cover a little ground. I heard you testify earlier that that you didn't want to speculate and that you thought the special counsel was asking you for speculation. And I continue to be concerned about comments that you made about the performance of the individuals that work with you. And so I went to the transcript, and you say you don't want to begin to speculate how this could have come up. Right? So you're clearly discounting speculation, but then you go on and you say, but I do find it, so it's no longer speculating here, you're finding it highly disturbing that some of the most vocal proponents or the most articulate speaking out against me are also the people who are people I've either moved on or they are, I don't want to say permanently demoted, but they're kind of, then you probably say, until extensive rehabilitation of their performance occurs, they will not be getting promoted and they will not be getting bonuses or special awards or anything of that nature. Now, before you tried to say, well, that's impossible for me to retaliate because their reviews had happened months before. You're not talking about months before here when you're talking to the special counsel. We're talking about things that you apparently intend that will occur in the future. You say until that rehabilitation, they will not be getting promoted, they will not be getting special awards. Do you want to respond to that?
Yes, I'd love to. The fact of the matter is, as Congressman, is that you have to look at this once again in the context in which it occurred. First, it was speculation.
Stop.
No,
stop.
I will not.
We're not going to let you run the table on this, Ms. Doan. I'm going to ask you a question, and if I have to ask the chairman
Tierney,
to instruct you to be responsive, I will. Right. Now, what I'm telling you is I am reading the context of your thing where you clearly say, I don't want to begin to speculate. So enough of the speculation. Then your next statement directly is, but I do find it highly disturbing that some of the most vocal proponents or the most articulate speaking out against me are also the people who are the people I've either moved on or they are. I don't want to say permanently demoted, but they're kind of. Until extensive rehabilitation of their performance occurs, they will not be getting promoted and they will not be getting bonuses or special awards or anything of that nature. That's the context. That's the exact language you used.
Congressman, you do not have to raise your voice to me.
Well, I had to, ma'am, because I had to raise it because you wouldn't stop when I asked you to stop. So now the question to you is, do you intend to hold back these people's bonuses or promotions?
This is an inappropriate comment to have because we have to talk about the context in which it happened and the tense.
We're not going to go there again. I'm asking you.
Mr. Chairman.
There is only one place to go there.
Mr.
Chairman, would you please instruct the witness to be responsive?
Mr. Chairman, I would be happy to use my minute, since Mr. Tierney doesn't, to give her an extra minute to put her. I have a minute I can use to allow her to answer the question.
Mr. Davis,
she ought to be allowed to answer the question.
Mr. Davis, she ought to be allowed to answer the question, but it is Mr. Tierney's time, and no one can take up time and interfere with that. So let me try to put some order to this.
I'd appreciate that.
We have 5 minutes for each member to ask questions. When the 5 minutes is up, if you're still answering the question, we let you complete it. But if a member asks you a question, it is not an opportunity to start on a monologue. You have to answer the question because otherwise it uses up the 5 minutes. Let's be fair to each other.
But what if they're really wrong?
Well, then you have an opportunity to answer the question and correct the record, but not to go on and on and on about it, and especially if 5 minutes can be used up like that. Okay. Mr. Tierney, I'm going to allow you to continue, and I'm going to make up this time that is elapsed.
The importance of this is that you stated specifically what will happen in the future. So I think it's very relevant here to find out whether or not you have any intention of not promoting these people or not getting their bonuses or special awards or anything of that nature, as you used in your language. Keeping in mind, the Office of Special Counsel found that there was nothing on their records that comported with your statement that they needed extensive rehabilitation or had poor performance.
The Office of Special Counsel's record report is flawed. It omits critical evidence, and it is riddled with errors. And I simply believe that it cannot be trusted. I've already commented on that in my comments in response to the report. I will tell you that, as I tried to explain earlier, the performance review process at GSA has multiple levels and phases. Everybody at these meetings are not my direct reports, so I have no input into whether or not they're getting a performance review of this or that rating, a bonus or not a bonus. That is their manager's determination.
Why would you make a statement that they will not be getting promoted and they will not be getting bonuses or special awards? You seem to be pretty clear under oath there.
No, we are still in the area of supposition and conjecture in my mind.
The word will is supposition and conjecture. They will not be
Actually,
getting
you
promoted,
may
they will not be
notice,
getting?
I noticed as I went through the transcript that I have probably some problems sometimes with tense, and as well as with personal pronouns. So you'll see that there are some
Let me suggest
issues
to you
in
what the Office of Special Counsel thinks your problems are. In summary, none of the performance reviews indicates that any of the witnesses who provided testimony adverse to Ms. Doan were poor to totally inferior performers, as she alleged. Thus, Administrator Doan's implication that the adverse witnesses were biased against her simply is not credible. Finally, it's troubling that the Administrator Doan made the above unsubstantiated allegations during an official investigation of her actions. It arguably indicates a willingness on her part not only to use her position in a way that is threatening to anyone who would come forward, but also suggests a willingness to retaliate against anyone who would be so disloyal as to tell the truth about a matter that she confesses she does not remember. So he thinks that your recollection is particularly bad on that. And there's comments replete throughout the record on that situation.
Well, this is a good example of a flaw because he chose not, or they chose not to actually mention another portion of my testimony where I talked about how the performances were occurring and actually commended some of the employees for certain portions of their performance, but they neglected that balancing act when they reported these comments. And these are things that I pointed out in my response to the report.
But you did use the words, they will not be getting promotions. And that you want us to believe is some sort of speculative or tense issues.
You have to look at what came before, and yes, we're talking about what goes on in a process and how does a performance review process happen. But I will tell you, no, I don't retaliate and will not retaliate against employees because their advancement, their bonuses are based on performance.
And you used the word that you will retaliate against them just for the fun of it under oath?
This is unfair, Congressman. You have
Not
no
unfair.
facts to
It's a direct question.
substantiate
It's a direct-
this.
I'm
I
reading
do not
your
and will
statement.
not retaliate against employees. I have been the strongest advocate for my GSA employees, and I will continue to be so.
Was you being a strong advocate when you said that they were not going to, that you had, their rehabilitation was needed, their performance needed to be improved, they will not be getting promoted, they will not be getting bonuses?
Congressman, I am all about improvement, and the answer there is no.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Let me take one